Hey there, welcome to the Stormwater World podcast. After 10 years in the stormwater industry, I feel like I've only scratched the surface of all there is to learn. I believe there are a lot of people just like me who are curious, but we're all just so busy. So I'm going to ask the questions so we can get the answers together. My name is Ty Garman, and I'm your host. Join me as we learn about what is happening in the stormwater world.
Hey y'all, welcome to the pod. Thank you so much for being with me here today. I'm super excited to have some friends of mine. Like, I guess that's a theme I've got going, bringing in all my friends onto the pod. So today I'm excited to have Katie Johns, who is managing editor of Stormwater Solutions and Water Quality Products, and Larry Scott, who needs no title because everyone knows Larry. So we had to make him one up. So what we decided to call him was Events and Projects for Stormwater Solutions now. So thanks for being with us, Katie and Larry. And so I guess we could just start out with the elephant in the room, because what we're going to talk about today is not only Stormwater Solutions, but we're going to talk about StormCon. And so why are those two things connected? Because they didn't used to be connected, and now they are. Some people may know out in our industry. I used to assume that everybody knows everything, but they just don't. So that's what we're going to tell them. What is going on? And Katie, I think Larry's video may be having a little challenge, but hopefully he can still chime in there on the audio. But Katie, you want to tell us what's going on with Stormwater Solutions and StormCon?
Well, first, thanks for having us, Ty. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
To be here. So Stormwater Solutions, in April, Stormwater Solutions and 4 other magazines were acquired by Endeavor Business Media. So we were with Grant Gillette Communications. Now we're with Endeavor Business Media, who already had Stormwater Magazine and StormCon. So fast forward to this year, we merged the 2 magazines together. So now we're all operating under Stormwater Solutions. So we're your one-stop shop for stormwater articles, erosion control articles, webinars, videos, all that stuff. And now we also get to work on StormCon, which is super exciting. So myself and Larry and a few others of us that came over in the acquisition are now a part of the StormCon team. So
that's
sure.
Awesome.
That's what's going on. Yeah.
Awesome. And so Larry, let me preface this and say that I was privileged enough to watch Larry ride off into the retirement sunset. And yet here he is with us today. So Larry, you please explain to us, I know it's not a full-time gig, it's part-time for you, but tell us what was able to bring you back into the stormwater world. And don't worry, I think you're having a little challenge with your video. I think we can hear you just fine. So tell us what you've got going on and what brought you back.
Well, thank you so much, Ty, for that great introduction and having both Katie and I on. We really appreciate your time. And yeah, so I retired, back in November of 2019. I had joined Stormwater Solutions back in 2006. So I was in the industry like you for a very long time. And so I wanted to retire. I wanted to start spending time on things that I really loved. I love stormwater, but I wanted to play more golf and just do a lot of different traveling and exciting things along those lines. And then after I retired, 2 months later, they came back to me and said, Larry, would you do anything for us? I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, just work a little bit for us. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And so I work twice a week. So I work on very specific special projects. And now, of course, I'm working on StormCon, which is a mind blower for me because, StormCon was, as you stated earlier, Ty, was the opposite of everything that we stood for, the Stormwater Solutions. And so it's been a big change. So anyway, yeah, I've been since, just before COVID, the pandemic. I started in February of 2020. And so this is kind of 3 years in right now, working 2 days a week.
That's awesome. I mean, acquisitions are always hard. I've been through acquisitions and they're always a challenge, but it sounds like you guys are definitely in the right place and it's the positives are outweighing any negatives because like I said, acquisitions are always tough. Just so you know, Larry, I see what you're doing over there, by the way. So I think I'm going to just direct all my listeners to the YouTube, because what's going to happen is Larry provided me with this really cool black and white headshot. And what I think he wants is because he's having video challenges, he just wants me to overlay that headshot the whole time he's talking so people can check that out rather than his camera. So I see what you're doing over there, Larry Scott. You're not,
Ty, that's actually not.
all right, well, let's jump into,
No, really. I see Katie. I don't know. I didn't know we were having video issues.
Okay, well then, hey, maybe we're perfect. I did preempt it to say that if it got a little fuzzy, it should be fine. But you literally on my side, it went out for a minute. But you sound. Did you? Okay, but you sound completely like yourself, Larry. And that's what matters the most, to overcome the voice that is my voice on this podcast. All right. Well, so Stormwater Solutions taking over StormCon. So let's get after that. And so this is not a sponsored podcast, so I can speak my mind. Everybody knows that I've been a hater in the past. I've obviously been a I don't know, haters maybe a strong word, but in terms of StormCon, I did watch things. I've been to whatever 10 plus StormCons. And there were some challenges over the last few years, some of which they couldn't help. And I gave them a pass, because they did acquire it in 19 from Forrester, if my timelines are correct. And then here we go into a pandemic, and now we're here to today. And so definitely in their defense, it's been a struggle. But quite honestly, like last year, I did not exhibit at StormCon, and I'm happy to say I was present, and I'm glad I was there. I was there helping some friends, and I can never speak on the content of the classes because I don't attend them. I like to talk about, from my standpoint, as an exhibitor. And having gone and walked the floor and been helping with the Best Managed Products booth, helping some friends out there because it was basically in their backyard, and seeing some friends and getting a chance to connect with some colleagues that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. I will say this, that it turned a corner and the attendance had gone back up. And then, lo and behold, it was probably too new, but we'll go ahead. You know what? Just go ahead and give you guys the credit, right? Lo and behold, I walk around and I see all my friends from Stormwater Solutions at StormCon. And so I got, I guess it's probably not an early scoop, but definitely I knew what was going on prior to this podcast. So, and I'm excited to see those numbers continue to increase going into Dallas this year, which is in my backyard, and I will be an exhibitor again this year. So happy to be supporting the conference and being part of it. So I throw it back over to both of you. Tell us the great things that Stormwater Solutions is going to integrate in for both the attendees that are going for their education and networking, as well as for vendors, just whichever direction you guys want to take it. What are your thoughts on StormCon Dallas 2023?
Yeah. Well, first, we did come, since we were acquired in April. We have to give credit to the team that was already there for last year's event.
Well played.
Great job. And we're working with, and we're all still, part of the same team. So for this year's event, we're expecting our numbers to grow even more. Like you said, we're in Dallas. It'll be August 29th to the 31st. For content this year, which is kind of what I'll be working on, we've added erosion control as a track because we do want to be a resource for both stormwater and erosion control. And I know we're, hoping to set up some tours and fun events and working on getting our keynote speakers. So we're still very much in the planning phase. The call for abstracts is open right now. But yeah, we're expecting it, to grow on the successes of last year. And I'm sure Larry has some more to add too.
Yeah, exactly.
Thoughts on StormCon?
Katie's talking about the content, which, we're adding additional tracks, as she stated. And so that's a big part of what StormCon presents. But from the exhibitor side, I think that's an area that really needed to be addressed. As you stated earlier, Ty, over the years, StormCon have been decreasing in size and exhibitors would go there and they just were not getting the leads. They were not getting the networking they would hope to have. And so that's really been a key focus for us as we start to bring in all our skill sets and resources for recreating StormCon in a sense. We're starting to build it back up. And so our 5-year plan in this is basically to have a StormCon that's really an umbrella for multiple different associations and pieces. And so that's a national event, and people are coming from the Northeast, the Northwest, and the Southeast, and the Southwest, and there's multiple associations involved with it. They could have tracks running through the event. So we have big aspirations, and we just want to make sure that exhibitors, it's well worth their time and energy and money to be able to go in there, because they're going to be able to network with a lot of different individuals. And one of the great things that Stormwater Solutions was able to bring to the table, unlike Stormwater Magazine, is our audience. And so our audience is really heavy and always has been big on public works municipalities. Like 50% of our audience is in that realm. While Stormwater Magazine was basically 25%. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. And one of it is that because of our long history with that particular group. And so our audience is going to be 50% public works, and then the balance is going to be specifying engineers and contractors. And so that's those are sweet spots for a lot of our exhibitors. And so we really think that bringing the correct audience in there, also bringing in multiple associations that will enhance the experience for all the attendees. And I just think it's going to be, it'll be a premier event, as, to be honest, it once was, but it was many years ago, and then I think they sort of fell off the mark a little bit. But,
right.
If we're going to be taking, as you very well know, that people can go virtual these days in terms of events. I mean, we have to make it worth their time if they're going to travel and do a live event. And so we're putting everything that we possibly can into this boat so that it does very well and it floats accordingly.
Gotcha. I think the biggest takeaway I heard from what you're just saying is that even though there was Stormwater Magazine and Stormwater Solutions, because of our niche market, that there are niches within the niches within the niches, the Stormwater Solutions was geared more toward, or I mean, let's just say it a different way, that it was geared toward a different group of folks, to where you guys are not just overlapping, bringing together two companies. You're actually bringing in a whole new potential sector that wasn't maybe serviced before or reached out to before and properly marketed to come and attend and be a part of StormCon. So that's awesome. A couple of questions for you regarding that is co-location. I do believe that this is StormCon this year. Is that correct? Like no co-locate, no other entity will be also part of the event. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, it's just StormCon this year. There's no co-location. And I quickly, Ty, if it's okay, want to circle back to, you were talking earlier about how we had a little bit of different audiences. So when we got acquired, we did a ton of audience. We looked at all of our numbers of Stormwater Solutions, Stormwater Magazine, and we really did we didn't have much audience overlap, which was surprising to us because
that's shocking to me.
We always looked at, we were in the market, we were competitors, right? Stormwater Magazine, Stormwater Solutions Magazine were very similar, but our audience overlap was relatively small. So now that just means we've grown our audience, right? Because now we have those two audiences all in one place that will hopefully be at StormCon. So this year we have that to look forward to. And there's no co-location. It's just StormCon.
That's great. As from my standpoint as an exhibitor, that just being StormCon is perfect. I think maybe other people may feel differently. So this is one man's opinion. But anytime, if I go back and look at, the times where it was with, I think one time it was with, I always want to call it Trash Con. It's not. I think it's Waste Con. But one time it was co-located with Waste Con. And then anytime it muddies the water, sorry, that's a terrible, that I'm not trying to be funny. But I'm happy that it's just going to be just StormCon. Dallas is a great location to launch from the success of 2022. I don't just say that because I'm in Texas. I just feel like in past conferences that we've had, Dallas is a very easy place to get in and out of.
Yes.
For all those listeners out there that are thinking about going out and reaching out to your public works director, whoever your supervisor is, and trying to get that approved for your budget, and you don't care or like traveling, quite frankly, for me, the Northeast is tough to get. The edges are tough to get to sometimes.
Yes.
If it was in Washington State or if it's in the Northeast, it's not always easy to get to. It's very easy to get in and out of Dallas, Texas. So
yeah, well, that's something that we're really keeping very.
So when this pod, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, that's something.
Yeah. Yeah. Just no, I see what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Because basically, if we're going,
I don't, that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so yeah, if we go to the Northeast or the Northwest, I mean, people, if they're traveling from the Northeast to the Northwest, that's like a 5-6 hour flight. It's just too much for individuals going from coast to coast. And so in the middle, like Dallas, as you stated, it's a major hub. It's easy to get to. And then future StormCons, that's what we're really keeping an eye on, is where can we go that's a central hub that's easy to get from the West Coast, from the East Coast, and nobody has to do a 5-6 hour flight.
Right. And it's tough. I mean, I know the thought process, and I guess it could be argued either way as far as like bouncing it around the country, because you all are going to get that higher level of regional pull. So people that just can't make the travel get an opportunity to do it, every other year or every third year, as it just kind of ops potentially in different region across the country. But, of course, if you head in Dallas every year, it'd be fine with me. But anyway, again, that's just my opinion. So when this pod will drop, we're going to be, this is Q1. We're going to call it because I don't know the exact. We're going to call it Q1 of 2023. What can people be doing now proactively? Is there a call for abstracts out? Are the booths available? Or can people register attendees? What's happening now so they can get involved? Is there sponsorships? What do we got going on for the end person or the end customer or attendee, or what do you want to call it? And then on the other side, those that want to be a part of the program.
Yeah, so I can start with abstracts and registration, and then I'll let Larry do the exhibiting side. By the time this comes out, I believe that our call for papers will be closed. But registration is open, and you can find all of that at stormcon.com. So that will be all set up for everyone. They can go ahead and register. We have information on the site about the educational sessions. There's exhibitor information on there. Anything, you kind of need to know is on this site. But I'm sure Larry can talk more about exhibiting opportunities.
Yeah. And so basically, as Katie stated, that we are selling exhibit booths and space right now. And so when this does drop, we have been about 2 months in with that. And actually, Wendy Posey, who is now the National Stormwater Solutions rep, and myself are selling space for StormCon. And so, we'll work with each individual, each organization, and get a package that works for them, as we did with Utah. And of course, we do have multiple sponsorship opportunities available too that they can work with us on. And so we're very excited about working with our clients on this.
All right. Well, obviously, Stormwater Solutions does a lot more than just StormCon. So let's talk about that. I know you guys have webinars. What other educational opportunities that our listeners may not be aware of can they take advantage of, both free and paid? If you guys want to touch on that, I'm assuming there's. You know what? I have to, my own ignorance. Hopefully, there's some free stuff or paid stuff. I assume there's stuff out there. I hope I didn't just put you on the spot. Like, well, there's nothing for free. Good try, Ty. Larry knows I'm always trying to get something for free. But what kind of outside of StormCon, what kind of other educational opportunities are out there for our listeners?
Yeah, well, the good news is, Ty, we do have free stuff.
Whew, thanks for saving me, Katie. That was Thank you.
Well, first of all, of course, we have the print magazine. We're going to have 6 issues in 2023, January, February, March, April, and so on. It's free to subscribe. You can get them physically in print, and then there's always the digital option as well. Our website also has, web exclusive articles that are free for our readers. We have a bi-monthly webinar series that is free for people to register for. Our first one of 2023 is February 15th. Our second one will be April 6th, and then every other month after that. I do a weekly video series that lives on our website. So it's just quick little interviews with me and industry professionals about projects or events or, trends and stuff like that. But also Endeavor owns Stormwater University, which has a lot of paid courses that, professionals can take to further their education. So that is also another educational opportunity. So there's a lot going on. That you're right. Aside from StormCon, that's just one piece. So we definitely have a lot of opportunities for education and resources and all that good stuff.
Gotcha. And then we'll link to all of that in the show notes. So if anybody's interested in following up and checking that out, you can click on the links that are in the show notes. Larry, I mean, I don't know, are all those webinars internally created, or is that something that's also sold to companies or whatnot? Larry, I feel like we have a system now. I mean, I know we're almost done talking, but Katie's good cop and Larry's bad cop. Larry's the guy trying to sell stuff. And Katie's just, Katie gave the free stuff away. So it's fine. You know what? If anybody can shoulder it, it's you, Larry. So go ahead. Do you have webinars to sell, sir?
Hi. And so I can tell you that these webinars that Katie's just talking about, basically we have on a bi-monthly basis, that they're free to attend, as she stated, but we also give free professional development hours during those webinars. So, they can earn those hours.
Oh, okay.
Those days at no cost. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, in terms of these webinars that you're referring to, if these are actually neutral content that Katie was able to pull from engineering firms that cover very specific topics, like the one we have coming up here in February is stormwater management, basically. And so there is, who's that? Is that Stantec, Katie, that's speaking, that engineering firm?
Arcadis will be presenting that.
That's right. It's our Arcadis
is going to be
presenting a couple of different case studies. But then we always look for sponsors of that particular event. So those are organizations, manufacturers of stormwater products, for instance, that want to be associated with educational opportunities such as this. And then we talk a little bit about that company before we get into the content. And then, of course, anybody that attends, anybody that registers, they get some of that information for lead generation. And usually we get about 400 registrants. That's the average in 2022 for each of these webinars. So they do extremely well. And then they're on demand for multiple months thereafter too. So
nice. Always all the numbers. You're the best learner. You always have all the data. I love it. So we're about wrapping up here. So how about some final thoughts, guys, gals? What do you got? Anything out there you want to share with the stormwater world and the listeners on, stormwater in general, the industry, Endeavor, Stormwater Solutions?
I guess I do want to mention that, we have our regular annual programs like Top Projects and Young Pros and Industry Icon, and the nomination forms are always open on our website. So those are some of my favorite things to work on, is getting to highlight, those unique and challenging projects, and then highlighting 10 young pros every year and one industry icon is a super good way for me to learn about the industry and to meet some people and highlight them. So those are all.
That's interesting. Is there some basic qualifications you wanted to touch on right now before we go? Just so people know? I mean, obviously we can link to all that stuff, but if you want to touch on them.
Sure. So the top projects, those always are highlighted in our December issue, but the nomination form is open year round. We usually pick the top 10 in around September in the fall. And I work with those 10 projects to do interviews on our site, and they get a little article in print. And the biggest qualification is they have to have been in the construction or design phase in the past 18 months. So you just have to be aware of that timeline when you're nominating. Young Pros and Industry Icon go in our May-June issue. So the nominations will be closed when this comes out, but right now when we're recording this in January, it's open. So industry icon, it's just an industry veteran that's been around a while, that's been a trailblazer and has, served as a mentor and a leader throughout their time. And then young pros can be anyone who is under the age of 40. So that's the biggest qualifier there. So
I missed out on that one.
You can work your way to industry icon time.
Just barely. Almost a decade. But anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, I digress.
And that was it. And then every fall we send out a state of the industry survey too. That usually goes out in September and August, and then the results go in our January issue, and we just use that to gauge how the year was for the industry, right? Like a lot of times the last couple of years we've had to ask about COVID and how that affected everything. But we just use it as a way to see what's going to be important coming up. So those are kind of our annual programs we always have. So yeah.
That's awesome. So if I were to, just kind of to recap what you were saying, what the big takeaway I hear there is there's a lot of free stuff out there, folks. There's a lot of free stuff. There's really no reason that if you wanted to know, you couldn't find out. So click on those links in the show notes. And if there's something that you're interested in stormwater that you don't know about, you can find things out without having to actually, pay for courses all the time. But then if you've got the budget, then I think a lot of these courses are well worth the investment. Larry, final thoughts, anything that you feel like you missed that you want to throw out there that people need to be aware of in terms of any events that are going on or StormCon?
Well, I think that, first of all, Ty, you need to apply to be the industry icon because you are so iconic.
Here we go.
Listen to
please, everybody go see his headshot. If anybody's iconic, it's Larry Scott. Yeah, go ahead.
With anything else, that it's just that we're very excited. Stormwater Solutions is very excited about being part of the Endeavor business media brand organization now, because we were a relatively small organization, about 150 of us. Now there's over 700 of us, and we're part of the largest B2B media company in the United States. So, we have what it comes down to is there's just a lot of different resources that we can draw on now where we may not have had those previously, so it makes it just that much more exciting for us. So we're excited about 2023 and beyond as we move forward.
That sounds great. Industry icon. I already have the title, right? The title could be Too Dumb to Quit. Right? And then big picture of my face. Anyways, hey, something to be said for persistence. So I want to thank you all again for being on the pod. All of your contact link. Now, Katie, I think in my form fill, like you had put out your Twitter handle. You don't really want people to reach out to you. Are you really active on Twitter?
I'm not really active, but you asked for.
I did ask for social media links. What would your all? I was surprised. Like so far, What's the best? Yeah, what's the best way for everybody to get in touch with you guys? Go ahead.
Definitely email. My email is
there. We go.
KJOHNS@endeavorb2b.com.
In the show
Twitter,
notes, it'll be.
We'll plug the Stormwater Solutions Twitter instead of my personal.
Okay, all right. Let's and we can put that in the show notes as well. Larry, the best way to get hold of you so people can buy all the things and do all the things and enjoy all the things.
It's L Scott, so LSCOTZ at EndeavorB2B.com.
Gotcha. Oh, of course, that'll be in the show notes. Katie, Larry, thank you so much. I wish you guys the best for 2023, and I hope StormCon, obviously because I'm going to be there, so it's for my own selfish reasons. It's amazing this year, but if you guys need anything from me, you know how to find me. Thanks again for being on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I look forward to seeing you at StormCon.
Yes, we do.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Stormwater World Podcast. Do you have something you'd like to discuss? Do you have an opposing opinion regarding something you heard during this episode? Let's talk about it. Click on the link in the show notes to sign up for a future episode. I'd love to visit with you about what's happening and how you see things unfolding in your stormwater world.